The girl I have to marry.
I give you cash, baby.
Uh-huh.
Dollar.
Come behind. Come. Something.
Diana was my manager. Diana was my sister. Diana was my best friend. I can't be here and stand when she's there.
But, dude, if this was a robbery, it gets scarier every day in Kampala. And I'm going to talk about my personal experience with the robbery, just so you can take care of yourself, man, and just be safe as much as you can.
Diana Namolinde posted her final Instagram photo on February 3rd, 2026. The 24-year-old Ugandan influencer, known across social media as Diana Skies, stood radiant in fashionable attire, her caption reading, "Diana means perfect light, goddess of fire." Within hours, she would be strangled in her own apartment. The man arrested fleeing the scene with her belongings? A security guard who worked just steps from where she lived alone. But before we get to that horrifying discovery, you need to understand who Diana Skies really was, because her story represents something much darker happening to young women across East Africa right now.
You're rich?
I've never been to Florida.
Not rich?
Yeah, not rich.
So you're not rich, what are you doing on my life?
Diana had built a following of nearly 200,000 people across Instagram and TikTok, sharing content about fashion, beauty, and travel that resonated with young women seeking inspiration. Her Instagram profile portrayed her as an entrepreneur, makeup artist, designer, brand ambassador, and CEO, with her bio emphasizing themes of empowerment and self-confidence. She posted luxurious settings, travels to destinations like the United Arab Emirates, Kenya, and Tanzania, always with captions promoting positivity like, "My dream life is already mine," or "Shine, Mamacita." Beyond social media, Diana operated an online business selling jewelry, shoes, bags, and perfumes, positioning herself as a self-made success story in Uganda's growing digital economy. She represented what so many young women aspired to become: independent, financially secure, creatively fulfilled. She had moved into her apartment in Nicholas Apartments, Kwata Zone, Kianja, about 5 months earlier, living alone while building her brand and her business. She had attended Buloba High School, where alumni would later mourn her as an old girl, and unverified reports suggested she was pursuing a Bachelor of Travel and Tourism Management at Makerere University Business School, anticipating graduation in February 2026. Her family home was in Nansana, with roots in Namayumba Kyampisi, Wakiso district. She had a boyfriend, Bernard Lukwago, a 32-year-old from Bahai, Kisasi, who cared deeply about her well-being. Everything about Diana's public persona radiated confidence and independence. She lived the aspirational life her followers dreamed about. But that independence came with vulnerabilities that her nearly 200,000 followers couldn't protect her from. The evening of February 3rd started like any other. Diana was active online, posting her Instagram content, and reportedly going live on TikTok. Her neighbor, Shan, who lived in the same building, was watching. But then something happened that immediately raised alarm bells. Diana's TikTok live stream abruptly cut off after about 20 minutes, just stopped mid-broadcast. Shan tried calling Diana to no avail. She sent messages, and 20 minutes turned into an hour, and 1 hour became several. The silence from Diana's apartment was deafening, and Shan sensed something was terribly wrong. She contacted the police. But here's where the timeline becomes absolutely chilling, because while Diana lay dead or dying in her apartment, something else was happening just a few blocks away that would crack this case wide open. Around 9 in the morning on February 4th, a security guard employed by Gibeon Security System was stopped by his supervisor at Kisasi along the northern bypass. The guard was carrying 2 large suitcases, one white and one coffee brown, along with 2 black backpacks and a laptop bag. His supervisor asked the obvious question, "What are you doing with all these bags?" The guard's explanation didn't add up, and his supervisor's suspicions led to his immediate arrest for possession of suspected stolen property. Police opened those bags and found a silver iPhone 17 Pro Max, a Samsung phone, designer shades, an expensive wristwatch, multiple female handbags, and various other belongings, all of it packed hastily as if someone had been fleeing in a panic. This was happening at 9 in the morning. Diana's body hadn't even been discovered yet. Hours later, around 3:40 in the afternoon, Bernard Lukwago, Diana's boyfriend, grew increasingly worried when Diana failed to respond to her calls, texts, or WhatsApp messages. He went to her apartment and immediately noticed something was off. The door had a padlock with keys placed nearby outside, an unusual detail that signaled someone had locked up from the outside. The caretaker advised Bernard not to tamper with anything and to contact authorities. He went to Kensington Police Post, and officers accompanied him back to the apartment. They used a stick to retrieve the keys without contaminating potential evidence, unlocked the door, and entered the premises. What they found inside Diana's bedroom would devastate everyone who knew her. Diana's body lay on the floor, positioned upside down, with blood and saliva oozing from her mouth and nose. The scene showed clear signs of strangulation, of violent struggle, and robbery. Remember those bags the security guard had been caught with hours earlier? Police confirmed every single item belonged to Diana Namalinde. The security guard, who was supposed to help keep residents safe, had allegedly robbed her. But the question that would haunt investigators was far more sinister. Was theft the only crime he committed that night? Kampala Metropolitan Deputy Police spokesperson Luke Oase Chigere immediately classified the case as murder by strangulation, aggravated robbery, and potentially rape, registering it under Kensington/SD 07/04/02/26 and transferring it to Kira Road Police Station as CRB 103/26. A team of homicide detectives and scene of crime officers visited and documented the scene. Several exhibits were recovered and statements from relevant witnesses recorded, Oase Chigere stated. The investigation moved quickly. Scene of crime officers recovered multiple exhibits, including potential DNA and other physical evidence, while taking detailed statements from witnesses. Diana's body was transported to KCCA Mulago City Mortuary for a post-mortem examination, which would confirm what investigators already suspected. She had been strangled to death during a violent assault. The security guard became the prime suspect, but under interrogation, he only confessed to stealing from a nearby apartment. He admitted to theft, but stopped short of confessing to murder. This created a complicated legal situation, because while possession of Diana's belongings directly implicated him in the robbery, proving he committed the killing required more evidence. Police identified 3 male suspects total, all aged 22 to 25. 2 were taken into custody, including the security guard, while the third remained at large. As of February 11, 2026, authorities continue conducting interviews and interrogations, analyzing the recovered exhibits, but no formal murder charges have been announced. This case highlights something deeply disturbing about urban safety in Uganda. The Uganda Police Force's 2024 annual crime report noted over 4,000 homicides nationwide, averaging 12 per day. Methods included assault and strangulation. For young women living independently in cities like Kampala, the risks are particularly acute. According to the Uganda Bureau of Statistics National Survey on Violence Against Women and Girls from 2020, lifetime intimate partner physical violence affects 45% of ever-partnered women. For young women aged 18 to 24, rates are 39% physical and 34% sexual. While urban areas like Kampala report lower partner violence compared to rural areas, they show significantly higher non-partner physical violence at 40.8% and non-partner sexual violence at 64.8%. What makes this particularly relevant to Diana's case is that factors increasing risks for independent women include economic activity, with 85% of earning women experiencing non-partner violence. Diana was economically independent, running her own business, living alone, building her brand and her business. These achievements, which should have been celebrated, potentially made her more vulnerable to predatory violence.
Today is the first day I get to hear the name Diana Skies, but on the look of things, it's like she has been a TikTok sensation and quite a number of people know about her. Maybe she's been a low-key socialite, and it's crazy, man. Like, you just get to know someone after they have passed. But the news is literally all over social media, and it's crazy. And there is speculation in regard to what really happened to her yesterday. And also, Uganda police has put out a statement about it. But, dude, if this was a robbery, it gets scarier every day in Kampala. And I'm going to talk about my personal experience with the robbery, just so you can take care of yourself, man, and just be safe as much as you can. So I'll just read out the police statement in regard to what happened, so at least you can get the details. So according to the police spokesperson, Luke Owoyesijide, is saying, quote unquote, police at Kira Road are investigating a case of aggravated robbery and murder by strangulation that occurred on the night of 3rd of February 2026 in Kwata Zone, Chanja Ward, Kawempe Division, Kampala City. The deceased has been identified as Namulinda Diana, a 24-year-old businesswoman and social media content creator who was living alone in an apartment in Chanja. Her body was discovered on the 4th of February 2026 after friends went to check on her and found her apartment open. Earlier the same day, police arrested a security guard attached to the premises after he was found in possession of items suspected to have been stolen. Some of the recovered items were later identified as belonging to the deceased. A team of homicide detectives and scene of crime officers visited and documented the scene. Several exhibits were recovered and statements from relevant witnesses recorded. So far, 3 suspects have been identified and 2 have been arrested to assist with investigations. The body of the deceased was conveyed to KCCA Mulago City Mortuary for post-mortem examination. Investigations are ongoing. It's absolutely sad, to be honest.
The 2024 police report documented 14,073 domestic violence cases, with 10,276 female adult victims. Sex-related offenses reached 14,425 cases, with 12,202 female juvenile and 2,142 female adult victims. The report specifically noted 491 deaths by strangulation, up 18.6% from the previous year, with 122 female adults among the victims. Diana Namulinde became one more statistic in these horrifying numbers. But her story resonated differently because of her public profile, because her followers had watched her build her life day by day through social media posts, because she represented aspirations and dreams that now lay shattered. Diana's burial took place on February 6, 2026 in Namayumba Kyampisi, Wakiso district, amid scenes of profound grief. A vigil had been held the night before in Chebondo, Nansana, where her godfather delivered an emotional speech highlighting the family's devastation. The funeral drew hundreds of family members, friends, and fans who came to pay their respects. Friends like Ray's described Diana as a friend who became a sister, expressing shock. "You have gone so soon, dear. I just can't imagine that you're really gone." Best friend Lydia was seen bursting into tears at the grave, kneeling and touching the tiles after the casket was lowered. Siblings sobbed uncontrollably, supported by relatives who struggled to process the senseless loss.
Diana was my manager. Diana was my sister. Diana was my best friend. I can't be here and stand when she said, I got so much
Diana's mother was described as being in disbelief and heartbreak, unable to comprehend how her daughter's promising life had been cut short so violently. The emotional weight of the ceremony was captured in videos that went viral, with netizens commenting, "I can just imagine what she's going through. The pain was unbearable. This is the most painful moment." And, "Who crying with me?" Ugandan TikToker Lubega, who attended the burial, noted the emotional atmosphere and speakers' calls for justice, urging police to expedite investigations. The community's collective grief transformed into demands for accountability, for answers, for justice that could somehow honor Diana's memory. Diana's murder isn't an isolated incident. It echoes another case that shook East Africa just 2 years earlier, revealing disturbing patterns of violence against young female influencers and socialites in the region. In January 2024, 26-year-old Kenyan socialite Starlet Wahoo Mwangi was brutally stabbed and strangled in an Airbnb apartment in South B, Nairobi. Like Diana, Wahoo had a significant social media presence, sharing lifestyle content that attracted followers. She was independent, living her life on her own terms in an urban setting. Wahoo was killed by someone who had gained access to her private space. CCTV footage showed Wahoo entering the Airbnb with John Matara, a 33-year-old secular artist known as Rebellious Monk, on the evening of January 3, 2024. They appeared amicable, conversing as they took the elevator. The next morning, Matara exited alone, visibly disturbed, with bloodied clothing and injuries to his legs and hands. When the apartment owner entered using a spare key, he found Wahoo's naked body in the sitting room amid signs of a fierce struggle. Disturbed furniture, blood pools, scattered items. Police recovered a blood-stained knife believed to be the murder weapon, a used condom, 2 HIV test kits, and other evidence. The autopsy revealed Wahoo suffered a stab wound near her left ear, a deep laceration on her right thigh that severed a major vein, causing rapid blood loss and death, and a human bite mark. The brutality of the attack, like Diana's strangulation, indicated excessive violence beyond what would be necessary just to kill.
While the country is still in shock following the brutal of socialite Starlet Wahoo that was reported on Thursday, 5th of January 2024, the police have now obtained new hard evidence on the suspect John Matara, who is currently in custody. In this new emerging CCTV video, I am going to give you an exclusive view of the events that transpired moments after Matara had escaped from room Y32, where he had booked for a night stay with the late Wahoo. On December 29, 2023, John Matara, aged 34, was involved in a series of violent incidents in Nairobi, Kenya, culminating in the murder of 24-year-old Starlet Wahoo. The crime occurred in an Airbnb located in South Bay, part of Nairobi's Lang'ata Scab County. Wahoo was found dead in room Y32 of the Papino building, with CCTV footage showing her arrival at the apartment with Matara. And now, police have obtained a new CCTV evidence showing how Matara comfortably escaped from the Papino buildings, with other residents watching him slip away as he drained blood from his thigh injury. In this scene here, Matara walks up to the lift in the 4th floor, then enters the input to the lift, but when you take a closer look just behind him, you can clearly see some blood stains left on his footprints. After the lift arrives, Matara confidently walks in to join other 3 individuals, 2 men and 1 lady. Why they did not suspect anything off with Matara as they descended to the ground floor is still a mystery. Few seconds later, the lift touches down at the ground floor where 3 other people are waiting to aboard. Immediately the doors open, Matara walks out as the 3rd person, and at that moment the people now started to notice something is really off with the man. One lady actually notices the blood dripping from Matara's thigh after he happened to trip on her and continues to walk comfortably out of the building. On his way, he meets another man who appears to be making a phone call, and later a lady at the main exit before he vanishes. According to police report, this could be the moment that upstairs Starlet Wahoo was struggling to reach the door and ask for help before she bled out. Wahoo was later laid to rest on Saturday, leaving a huge space for speculations on what really transpired inside that Airbnb. May her soul rest in peace. Thank you so much for watching Udaku Zone. My name is Commentator mjukuu wake Papa Francis. Unanitafuta hamnipati.
Matara was apprehended at a Nairobi hospital while seeking treatment for his wounds. Police interrogation revealed he had met Wahoo online, highlighting the digital risks that female influencers face. Multiple women subsequently accused Matara of similar patterns, luring them to lodgings, assaulting them, and extorting money, suggesting he was a serial offender. By February 2026, DNA analysis linked Matara directly to the crime scene. Government chemist Emily Oworo testified at Milimani High Court that DNA from the knife, towel, and denim shirt matched Wahoo's blood, while semen from the condom and mucosal swabs directly linked Matara. His trial continues, with more witnesses expected. Wahoo's death sparked massive protests in Kenya. Activists noted 30 women were killed in January 2024 alone, part of over 500 femicides documented from 2016 to 2024. The hashtag #EndFemicideKE trended across social media as Kenyans demanded action on violence against women. These aren't just statistics. They're young women like Diana and Wahoo who built followings by sharing their lives, their dreams, their aspirations with audiences who looked up to them. They were entrepreneurs, creators, individuals carving out space for themselves in competitive digital economies. And they were killed by men who viewed them as targets rather than human beings. Diana's final Instagram post has become a memorial hub with thousands of condolences. Rest well. Rest in heaven, Dia. This is so sad and breaking. Rest IP. Her followers, who had watched her journey, now mourn the future she'll never have. The investigation continues. Police remain focused on analyzing exhibits and conducting interrogations, working to build a case that will bring justice for Diana and her family. The security guard and one other suspect remain in custody while authorities search for the 3rd identified individual. But beyond this specific case, Diana's murder raises urgent questions about how society protects young women who dare to be independent, who build businesses, who live alone, who share their lives publicly. The patterns documented in Uganda's crime statistics and violence surveys show these aren't isolated incidents, but symptoms of systemic issues that demand comprehensive solutions. Diana Namulinde was 24 years old. She had built a following of nearly 200,000 people. She ran a successful online business. She had plans, dreams, a whole life ahead of her. On February 3, 2026, she posted what would become her final message to the world. Perfect light, goddess of fire. That light was extinguished too soon. But her story, and the stories of women like Wahoo and countless others, demand we confront the violence that too often targets women who dare to shine. Do you think the security guard was one who killed Diana? Let me know what you think in the comments section. Also, click on one of the cards on your screen to see more videos like this. See you in the next one.